I'm Jilly Morris. I'm an artist. I normally live and work in Bristol. So normally my view is the city centre, and I've got this beautiful view behind me. I've been here as an artist in residence in the Observatory in Lymington, Keyhaven, Salt Marshes. Residencies have a good way of making you work out of your comfort zone. You're usually in an environment you're not used to. It makes you have to engage with the landscape. It gives me the opportunity to translate the landscape into different artworks. It also gives me the opportunity to go and discover hands-on really what's there. I have found it really fascinating to go and explore and find materials that I can gather and collect quite compulsively to use as an artwork. I like to explore a different tool in its full capacity, really, so that whether it's a hammer or whether it's a drill or whether it's a fly swat, I like to sort of push the boundaries of trying to draw with that implement. Because I was fascinated by the salt aspect, because salt was considered to be incredibly precious in history, I thought it'd be interesting to give a gift, and that gift would be salt. So I've created these little envelopes that are called Salty Days, and I hand-print each one and I put a bit of salt in. And these have been a fantastic way to engage with public. What's been interesting is having a dialogue about salt and then being able to give a gift, and this gift is salt. In exchange for a gift, I've been asking for a fingerprint in return. And this has been a wonderful way to interact with passers-by. Everybody that comes across the observatory, I've invited into the studio. We talk about salt and salt's importance and its history in society, in politics, in economics, customs. Salt has an incredible, fascinating history. I ask for a fingerprint in return, and this is like a trace. It's a trace of the person who's just visited me. I'm connecting it to traces of the past as salt was produced here. It also has allowed me to geographically plot where people come from when they use this landscape, and that's a kind of byproduct. I didn't think about that when I sort of thought of the idea, but it's been really interesting to see actually where do people come from when they come to use this landscape, and that's been fascinating. So I know that another artwork will come from that side as well, a sort of a plotting. It's been great to find this treasure, which is essentially old wood. It could be up to 10,000 years old. It could be a couple of years ago. All of this area was forested once upon a time. From the Isle of Wight to here was connected by forest. I like the idea that some of it could be, you know, a bit of 10,000 old tree. Some of it could be a pirate ship, remnant of a pirate ship. Some of it could be somebody's barbecue that they had 5 years ago. They're very black when you found them, and they're very brittle. And I've been collecting them daily. And what I like is it's the place that governs when I can collect it. I have to collect it when the tide is out, so that's under control. It's not under my control at all. And I really like that fluid process. It's like I have to wait for the language of the place itself to let me go and gather. It's a really slow process. You have to collect them, find them, take them back, dry them out, then select them, and then I wax them to let them look like how I find them originally in their original state, just on the water's edge. Each little piece will have its own story of what it was, where it came from, and to me that's such a vital part to collecting a material to make an artwork with. The residency has allowed me to re-engage with that side, which is really important, to connect with the landscape, to connect with finding something that will then inform an artwork. I've been making Lymington ink. It might possibly be the first ever Lymington ink ever made. In medieval times, we made ink out of oak galls, or oak apples, some people might know them as. It's a curious process of collecting them, crushing them up, boiling them with salt, and then you have to let it sit with iron for about a week. And it's the chemical reaction between the high content of the tannin in the oak galls and the iron that kind of creates the ink substance. You have to put a stabiliser in also to so it'll flow properly, and that's usually a gum arabic or an egg white. It's interesting that to collect the oak galls, it immediately connected me to the location. I always wanted to make ink, and so it was a great opportunity on this residency to be able to do that. And then once you've made your ink, to be able to draw with your own ink, I mean, how fabulous is that? So that's been very curious. My first batch was a bit brown for me. I'm a very black and white girl. So it's been great to be able to have the opportunity to make more batches. So I'm on my third batch of Lymington ink now. And that's been a very exciting part of my experience here. Just before I was coming to Lymington, an artist friend of mine gave me a 27-year-old Jilly's colour chart. I just thought, oh wow, how exciting, and I took it with me, not knowing what I would do with it really. And whilst I was in the observatory, what was wonderful, I was looking at the sky and I just thought, I wonder what colour it is against the Jilly's colour chart. So I began to, every day, match the sky and the water from my viewpoint with the colours on the chart. And it's been a great way to sort of record on a daily basis. Some of the colours have been fantastic because I've obviously been November, December, it's been pretty grey, to be quite honest, and I love grey, so that's quite good. But I've had excellent colours like silver lining in the clouds, civil servant, milk churn. So it's been curious to every day to keep this data. With the information that I gather with collecting the colours, I will make eventually an artwork which will be shown in the exhibition at the end of the residency for all of us. There are many treasured moments I will take away from this residency. I will never forget seeing my first kingfisher for one, and I've seen it 5 times now. The sounds, the sonicness of this environment is incredible. And I've discovered that I really want to, in the future, be able to work on a completely different vein of work, and that will be to do with sound. I've always been passionate about music, and it's about time now that sound is connected to my artwork. The Observatory and the salt marsh has given me that inspiration to try. I don't think I've ever been in such a wonderful sonic place before, so thank you for that.